Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today's February 7th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. There's BC, Washington, Oregon. Snow falling across eastern Washington, eastern Oregon, down towards Boise at times this morning. That'll be pushing through today. We'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at the next system rolling in here tonight into tomorrow morning. And then we'll take a look at a much colder Arctic air mass getting down across the region with the potential for a Pacific Ocean storm to run back up into that Arctic air mass. More on that here as we go through the video this morning. Taking a look at things right now, north flow across the region, eastern Washington down the Puget Sound, Willamette Valley, coastal areas. We got some chilly air in place right now. You see Seattle at 32, Portland at 34 this morning. And again, the active snowfall continues across some of the Tri-Cities, eastern Oregon, and down towards Idaho this morning. And if you want a nice, affordable home weather station, record all this crazy weather we get here in the Pacific Northwest, you'll really like this weather station. Click on that link down below to save 10% off. Now, taking a look at right now, you can see there's the Tri-Cities. You can see Pendleton, Oregon, and some snow flying down across some portions of Idaho and western Montana as we speak. So it is accumulating at times, so be careful with that. This will be pushing out as we go through tonight. Now, I selected State Route 221 here. You can see some of the snow falling and accumulating on the side of the roads, and you can see some of the slushy accumulation there, and there's the Tri-Cities. And this should be wrapping up as we go through the day today. Pendleton, I checked that winter storm warning. It was only for another inch of accumulation, but again, watch out for those slick conditions out there. And Spokane calling attention to this band of snowfall. You see Walla Walla, maybe another 2 to 3 according to Spokane as we go through the day today, down towards Boise, and again, higher amounts across the higher terrain. As you can see here on the Boise National Weather Service map, there's Stanley and Yellow Pine 6 to 8, and Boise, look at that, 1 to 2. You are in the winter weather advisory. Lesser amounts the further you go off to the south and east for Twin Falls. Now, this is something new the National Weather Service does. They put out these cold weather advisories, and you can see they had one up. This is just expired here across western Washington, but they do tell you things like wind chill factor and things like that, and it did wrap up here just in the last few minutes. Now, I saw this a couple days ago, this lightning strike on Vashon Island. This thing was producing some water spouts, transient supercell moving across the Pacific Northwest. Very rare stuff indeed. Fun stuff. I was glad I was able to witness that. Hope you enjoyed those pictures. Now, taking a look at the GFS on the right versus the European on the left, what is to come next? So 18,000 feet, 500 millibars. This does a great job of showing general trough and ridge position. We got the ridge where we want it if you want colder air into the Pacific Northwest. Look at this thing amplify up across Alaska and really push this north and northeast flow back down across the Pacific Northwest. Very good model agreement between the GFS and the European. Very high confidence in this Arctic air mass arriving, and that's the tough part for lowland snow lovers to get that snowfall. So what happens after that? Another polar low tries to reach out across British Columbia, and then look at this. Both models have it. Ensemble agreement is getting better as well as a warmer, moist Pacific Ocean storm runs back into that Arctic air mass. So lower elevation snow lovers, you're going to want to pay attention closely as we go through this next week coming up. So yeah, there's going to be some important model runs coming up here over the next few days. Now, for you visual learners out there, this is British Columbia, Washington, Oregon. This is precipitable water. So I'm going to show you just how dry this air mass is with this Arctic air, and look at it push down across the region. It comes out of the north and the northeast. So largely a dry Arctic air intrusion into the Pacific Northwest. But again, it is going to lock us up and get very cold in some of these overnight lows. And then we bring this system back up into that Arctic air mass. Oh boy, that's got some good potential with it as we go on in towards next week. I can't wait to watch these model runs over the next few days. Some interesting stuff indeed. And with that very dry Arctic air mass, evaporative cooling will come into play with that system approaching. So for example, Seattle, if it was 36, dew point is 22. When the rain falls into that air, evaporative cooling will cause the dew point to rise and the temperature to decrease. So then you're going to drop below freezing. You start to deal with snow, perhaps ice pellets, formerly known as sleet, by the way, or freezing rain for some locations, places like Portland especially. So that's what evaporative cooling is. Now, let's take a look. What's coming up here? I froze the last night's European artificial intelligence there at hour 1:38. This is Wednesday afternoon. 36 degrees in Seattle. Well, it's going to come in as rain, right? Not so fast. What did we just talk about? Evaporative cooling, 18. You see, those temperatures would really drop below freezing quickly when you started to bring moisture up into there. You get the evaporative cooling and you drag that temperature back down below freezing. So yeah, look at that bone dry air mass that would be in place there Wednesday afternoon with the system starting to move in. And this is what the 6-hour precipitation map would look like. So again, the track on this low would mean everything. This one just kind of clips Seattle, but man, that would be some big time stuff for places like Portland, some of the Willamette Valley potentially, depending on just how cold the air gets down in towards the Willamette Valley. Valley. Could be a widespread snowstorm for eastern Washington, eastern Oregon, Idaho, and Montana as well, with the Arctic air and slamming a warm, moist Pacific Ocean system into it. Man, that is going to be interesting. Now, let's take a look here. Oh, sorry about that. We're going to go ahead and scroll forward now. We're looking at the 12Z European. So this one is hot off the presses. You can see tonight it does show Willamette Valley probably too marginal to get accumulating snowfalls, but some areas could get brief accumulations. And you got to watch out for stuff like this as we go through tomorrow morning on the European foothill areas or Seattle surrounding areas or higher hilltops. You could get, an inch, 2, maybe 3 for some of the outlying areas as we go through tomorrow morning. And then we scroll on in towards Sunday morning, showers wrapping up. That system continues to push through. Arctic air mass really gets into place, largely a dry intrusion, but could kick off some shower activity with it. And then the Arctic air is in place. And yeah, European showing something similar to what the GFS was. I didn't show the GFS yet, but look at that. Deformation belt on the north side of the slow would pack some heavy snow. There could be freezing rain down in towards Oregon, the gorge there as well, and kind of a widespread snowstorm here across the Pacific Northwest. Again, track means a lot with this upcoming system. Now, if we take a look quickly on the North American model, high resolution look at things here. You can see the snow moving out as we go through the day today and tonight, and then we start to bring this in tonight. Some bands of snow. You're going to see some snowflakes here across western Washington, western Oregon, and perhaps some accumulation with it. Should be on the lighter side, though. And something interesting with the NAM is it continues to show some of this all the way on in through Saturday night and on into Sunday morning there as well. Some of these showers still spinning around there, but those shouldn't accumulate too much. And then also I want to show you as we go through the day tomorrow, a band of snow moving across eastern Washington, some of the eastern Oregon as we go through tomorrow night also, so don't sleep on that. Now, let's take a look at the accumulated positive snow depth change in inches on what is to come tonight. You can see some of that trying to creep up there, especially off towards the foothills and stuff, and maybe out towards Highway 101 up against the Olympics and things like that. And the Cascades picking up a few inches of snowfall as well. But then let's scroll off in towards next week. Let's take a look at it. What the heck? Yeah, you can see that low moving in there. That could bring some significant accumulating snowfall with it. Again, we'll pay more attention to that over the next few days. A lot of fun model watching here to go. Now, Spokane International, look at the GFS ensemble as we go on into early next week, just kind of showing you and highlighting just how chilly this Arctic air mass is. There's Seattle, Tacoma as well, plenty cold out there, and some of the outlying areas, of course, do get much colder than Seattle, like, for example, Arlington. Look at this, into the teens, highs barely getting above freezing as we go on in through next week. Now, Paradise, I thought I'd show this here as well. Some temperatures getting way down into the single digits in the overnight lows. Here's Bellingham, also some teens showing up as we go through Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And there's Portland, also some very cold air spilling down into the Willamette Valley. Should lock up a lot of the Pacific Northwest with this Arctic air mass. And then we look at the European. This is last night's ensemble run. Again, you can still see we have some pretty good disagreement on what is going to occur for Portland. It's going to be freezing rain, snow. Is this storm going to take a different track, or is something going to change? We're still unsure, but you see we're starting to get some decent ensemble agreement on some kind of a system moving in this time frame as we go through Wednesday night and on into Thursday. Seattle, Tacoma, something similar there as well. You can kind of see the hit and miss nature in there, but there are some big snowfall amounts showing up with some of these ensemble runs, and this is the initial one that's moving in tonight. Now, Tri-Cities as well, you could get snowfall over there with that next system. Again, kind of a widespread snowstorm potential here as we go on in towards next week. This is Pendleton, Oregon also. You can see that as well. Here's Boise, even bringing some snowfall out there also. So yeah, fun stuff. Now, National Blend of Models, I froze this out towards next Thursday morning. If we take a look there, you can see the moisture moving in, and that would be moving in again to a very chilly Arctic air mass. That's the same time frame. Look at those dew points there. A lot of evaporative cooling with that system rushing in. So getting some model agreement on things here. And look at the 2-meter temperature there on hour 141.26. You're down into the 20s here for some of Portland, even down into the Willamette Valleys below freezing. And look at these temperatures east of the mountains, teens, single digits, and up in British Columbia and Alberta, Montana, a lot of areas below 0 Fahrenheit. This is not a wind chill reading, folks. And we're probably going to end up being in a La Nina here. The pattern certainly looks like it, and it has that look there across the Central Pacific. We measure La Nina or El Nino conditions, otherwise known as ENSO, between 120 and 170 west, plus or minus 5 degrees across the equator. And you can kind of see the upwelling that's been occurring here recently. And kind of that, it's not the strongest La Nina, but it definitely has the La Nina look, and it'll probably be classified as such by the time things are all said and done. And if we take a look at the 6 to 10 day, this was updated yesterday. Continuing with the below normal. There's the above normal here. We're in systems maybe riding underneath that Arctic high there in some of the west coast of North America. 8 to 14 day, 8 to 14 day above. Take what you will from that. And again, we're going to have some big mountain snows incoming there with that system does verify as well. But yeah, fun stuff coming up here. Can't wait to watch the models over the next few days. I may start doing 2 videos a day again, especially if we really start to get some high confidence in this entire thing unfolding. But otherwise, hope you guys are having a good day. Click like and subscribe. We will do this all again either tonight or tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.